and welcome to this session of Remembering John Perakos in Memorial. Today, we're very lucky to have with us Hedy Geimer-Lorusso, who's the head of the Berlin Institute of Core Energetics. Hi, Hedy.
Hi, Reinhold.
Hey, thanks so much for making your time available and being with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. I'm enjoying it, sharing my experience with you and with whom else.
Oh, that's wonderful. So along those lines, Hedy, how did you meet John? How did you come into this work?
Yeah, it was a very emotional moment when I met John. I met him in one of his first workshops in the south of France, in Europe.
Yes.
And that was a situation, some weeks before I went to that workshop, I fell in love with a man who was a student of John programs in New York. So this guy became my husband later on. But at that moment, we just fell in love some weeks before. And then he said, I'm going to join a workshop in the south of France. Are you interested to come with me? And I said, yes, why not? Let's experience. I never heard about that man. So he explained me a little bit about the situation, what he's learning, and he was enthusiastic by himself as well.
Wow.
So we went to his first workshop, and it was 1986.
My goodness. So how was that workshop for you?
Breaking through. That was really, I was sitting there, my English was even worse than today. And I was sitting there with my beloved one next to me and looked at this man, what he's talking about. What is the topic here? Yeah. Wow, but something came without thinking it over. It touched me. And I can't say, probably I was so open in my heart anyway. And something really struck me inside. So in a way, it was not an easy workshop for me because I think we had 5 days workshop. And physically, I became sick. I was crying, I was screaming, I want to run away, all this kind of experience. But something reached me. The way he was teaching, the way he was explaining, the way he was reaching out for every human being in that huge class. I think we was around 40, 50 people in that workshop, a huge workshop. Yes. And John was there with his big heart, with his big experience behind it, and you feel it. Even on my mind, I couldn't get what's going on. So I became open. And it was the first time for me that I felt being seen, and I felt being reached in my deepest part of my own being.
Wow, very touching. So
and it really was kind of something open up in me.
Wow.
Without thinking it, what's going on? What is the theory behind it? Yeah.
And so how did it develop for you from there, from this first workshop? How is
and
it
then I was so moved by that. And as often as I could, I went to New York for a single session with John. It sounds so strange today, but I did that.
Yes. Well, it's not strange. It's wonderful. I mean, that's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah. And it really was, that was so much, my heart longed for it.
Wow.
So I think I went 6-7 times a year to New York and had an intensive session with intensive time session with John.
Yes.
I had even session with Dora. At those times, we were still with Dora.
Yes.
And I had a chance to be there in the Institute, seeing case presentation, had several was part of several workshops in New York. So
Yes.
then I was so much in that way that after some years, 2 or 3 years, I decided to take his training, what he started in Europe.
Yes. Oh, so you were in the European intake. You didn't train in New York.
No. I took the first training what he was organized here in Europe.
Yes.
At those time it was organized by Sigmar.
Yes.
And I was part of that training here in Europe.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then I still was with my beloved one at this time.
Yes.
And then I become a student, then I become a practitioner, then we started to organize workshops and seminars for John here in Europe, in Germany, and later on in Italy. And then from there on, we installed institutes in Germany and in Italy.
Wow.
And we did that together, my husband and me.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so
that was really, something was there what was, I felt my heart connection for myself, and I felt this is my lifetime. I have to go for it. I couldn't do different.
Yes, I feel the passion in you, and I can, it's interesting. I feel this energy, this emotion, and almost like a movie going on of all of this history. It's so beautiful. Hey, so I must say, what a wonderful journey from a participant to a direct client to a trainee, to a business partner, to an expansion of the business. You had so many different relationships with John.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because when we was on the track to organize workshops and seminars and trainings for him, and my husband and me, we came very close to John, and John had a capacity to have a friendship relationship, and at the same time we never lost our professional relationship. And if I share that, I feel so touched. Still now, it was very special relationship.
I'm feeling it, that he could hold the space so beautifully for both the professional, but also this personal connection. Yeah.
And then we had beautiful experience, private experience together, going for holidays together. He came in our house, what we had in Italy. We invited him, and he enjoyed it so much because with his own Mediterranean background, he felt so familiar home in Italy.
Yes. Oh, how beautiful.
We went to our cousin with him in the Italian mountains for winter time, moving through the snow. Yeah, there were so many beautiful experiences beside the professional support I always found in him. He was, how can I say? He was full of wisdom, like if we start to share on a professional level, it was a never-ending process. He brought this perspective, he brought this idea, he shared with us his new experience, what he went through to seeing the aura, what kind of vibration he could measure, and what he discovered through all these years. It was a richness to be with him.
Amazing. So for you, in your own process at a personal level, what's the most memorable thing that working with John has left with you?
He could be very confrontative, and this came up to me when I'm thinking it over. He made, by all this loving, caring, supporting situation, when it's quite in the beginning when I had single session with him, he was one time so confrontative with me. He said, if you say one more time yes, what I suggest what to do, you have to leave the room. And by chance, I said a second time yes, for something what he said. And then he set me in the room next to his office, was the group room, the big room, and he let me sit there for hours.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt, I didn't realize what I did. You know, I was so spontaneous and I was so enthusiastic of his support. I said, yes, John, great. And he said, you said another time, yes, go, think it over. And I tried to think it over, but I couldn't get it. It was not really in me because it was such a pattern for me at those times. Good luck. And then after, I don't know how many times I was sitting in the group room waiting. He had session in between. He had session in between with others. Then after a while, he came, knocked the door and said, come back. We have to talk. And then there's something I got it so clearly. I don't know what happened. Sometimes he made it like a miracle what happened, but by really feeling pushed away, felt now he is not lovable anymore towards me. He don't like me anymore. I made a mistake, you know, with all this confusion in my head. When I came back, I really got it. I forgot that I be an own person and I have to care more for my integrity. And I didn't have that at those times. I was grown up in a situation where I had to be very shy and push myself back and hold myself back. And that gave me such a strange and strong impact that from then on, I really care for my integrity. Wow. I really found I have to stand up what I want. I have to stand up what I don't want. I have to care for my own opinion. And sometimes it's still today, sometimes it comes back, oh, watch out, you didn't care enough for your own opinions.
So beautiful. What a lasting
message. That was something what came through, and I got this inner strength, what really trust me. Or let's say it's not me like an ego, it's in me from an inner belief, an inner faith.
Yes. Thank you. That's so beautiful. And in terms of all of the things that you've learned and absorbed from him, what do you feel that you take out the most when you've done so much, you've worked with people, you've trained so many therapists, you hold such a big space for the broader community. What do you feel resonates as a legacy of John in how you work?
You mean what was the greatest impact what I learned with him?
Sure, why not? However this question means to you is really where I'm getting to.
I mean, the existential issue for me, it's really seeing the core in the other person, to see behind the mask for my part of my inner self.
Yes.
To really, whoever comes in my office, whoever I had trained in the past, and whoever I will be support in the future, I have a connection from the inner eye, from the inner perspective of human beings. And this means really love human beings. With all their struggle, with all their difficulties, with all their not knowing where they are, there is a beautiful part. And this is the main goal, what helped me to still continue to work with a lot of pleasure, supporting other people.
Wow, thank you. And And he was so good at that, wasn't he, to really see the
Yeah,
person.
the love, he was not only talking or giving, sharing his experience of love. He was full of love.
He walked his walk.
And he shared that.
Yes. Yes, yes. And from it came this wonderful body of work that, whilst it has his DNA all through it, is able to take that experience for everyone, the practitioner, the group participant, the private participant, and take them on a similar journey, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, thank you. So if there was anything more that comes to you about John, whether it's the man, whether it's these many other hats that he wore, what would that be that you could share with the rest of us?
Yeah, what came up to me when you asked me that is seeing him also on a private level. He was such a charming man until his very in his whole life. And I remember he was interested in a friend of mine, female friend of mine.
He had an eye for the ladies, I can see.
Yeah, and he was so nice and so charming and so so young. He was young in his heart.
Yes, yes.
And my female friend was not so much interested in him, but there was this energy sparkling. What can we do? Let's go for dinner tonight together. And then we sit on the table, the four of us, and he liked to be in a very nice fancy restaurant and have good fine food, and he liked to dress himself nicely, as maybe you know.
Yes,
he liked this lifestyle full of abundance
and pleasure. Yes,
and pleasure. Yeah,
yeah, so
and
beautiful.
it was beautiful to see him, and he was like young from his heart. He was young. Yeah, and he was very generous, sharing things from his own situation, bringing presents. Yeah, he was generous from his heart, and this is why I see he had this big young heart.
Look, thank you. And that everything you say just brings me back. I feel him standing here in front of me in his beautiful suits with the cravat, and you know, they're talking about the different dishes. He would ask me about Indian food, you know, and it's bringing it back. Thank you so much for that.
And
well,
then
Hedy,
I can add something. Please. What I had in mind when he gave on his professional level, when he gave speeches. I remember when he gave speeches, we organized speeches, for example, in Italy, just in the beginning before we start the Italian Institute.
Yes.
He gave speeches and workshops, and he was full of ideas. And sometimes he was so full of ideas what he wanted to share with the audience,
everyone,
that he lost a little bit the focus what he was teaching or talking about. But you felt he is full of that passionate experiences. He was full of, this is what I'm looking for. I'm searching even further. I'm still on the way to find more about it. When he was talking about energy, love, sexuality, how this is giving human life fulfillment.
Yeah, so much curiosity and generosity as well. In just sharing everything.
So full, such an abundance of wisdom in him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Hedy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time to share these beautiful memories as well as pearls of wisdom that was John Parakos. And I'd also like to say that I'll be coming back to you to talk some more about many other things that we'll share with everyone. However, those will be for another day, if that's okay with you.
Totally fine for me, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll be chatting again soon.
Yeah, I think you too. Bye and have a good time.
Thank you. Take care.